No one tells you this when you're young, but I will. Your 20s will make or break the rest of your life. Not because of luck, not because of opportunity, but because the man you decide to be right now is the man you're stuck with later. Most men waste their 20s chasing pleasure, chasing validation, chasing comfort, chasing people who don't care about them, and then wake up at 30 or 35 wondering why life feels heavy, restricted, and disappointing. The truth is brutal. Your 20s are not the years to relax. They're the years to build. These years decide whether you'll be respected or ignored, whether you'll be financially free or financially trapped, whether you'll have options or live with regret, whether women chase you or walk past you, whether you age into strength or into bitterness. Every choice you make right now is a seed. Your discipline or lack of it will compound. Your habits will harden into identity. Your weaknesses will turn into lifelong limitations. And your standards will determine the quality of your relationships, your money, your confidence, and your future. Your 20s are the only time in your life where you have energy, flexibility, time, and the freedom to build a version of yourself that your 30s will reward you for. But most men don't. They drift, they party, they coast, they gamble with time as if they get another set of 20s. They don't. If you're in your 20s right now, you are shaping a man that your older self will either thank or hate. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why your 20s determine your entire future and how to stop wasting the most important decade of your life. Let's get into it. Every man hits a point in life where he realizes something sickening. He isn't living the life he imagined. He's living the life he settled for. And almost always, that realization traces back to one place: how he spent his 20s. This decade is either your launch pad or your lifetime prison. But most men don't see it because the consequences don't hit immediately. Your 20s trick you. They make you feel like you have endless time. They whisper, "It's fine. You're still young." They make you believe opportunity will always be there when you decide to get serious. That lie destroys more men than failure ever will. Because the truth is brutal. The man you become in your 20s sets the ceiling for the rest of your life. You're deciding your future every single day in ways you don't notice. Every workout you skip becomes a weakness in your 30s. Every cheap dopamine hit becomes a dependency. Every casual hookup becomes emotional baggage. Every party becomes a distraction. Every "I'll start tomorrow" becomes a pattern. Every hour wasted becomes a skill you never built. Every excuse becomes your identity. You aren't just wasting time. You're shaping the version of yourself your future has to live with. Your 20s are the only decade where you have the energy to outwork everyone, the time to develop mastery, the flexibility to fail and recover, the freedom to experiment, the mental space to build identity, the capacity to endure discomfort, the runway to create momentum. If you squander that, you don't just fall behind. You lose the one decade where change is easiest. Men don't fall off in their 30s or 40s. They fall off in their 20s, but the damage doesn't show until later. You know who thrives? The men who choose discipline over pleasure. The men who choose consistency over excitement. The men who build instead of drift. The men who sacrifice now so they can dominate later. The men who live uncomfortable while everyone else hides inside comfort. These are the men your future self will look back on with gratitude. And the ones who coast through their 20s, their future self looks back with bitterness. Your 20s are your foundation. If it's solid, you can build anything on top of it. If it's weak, every dream you chase will collapse under its weight. This is the decade where you either earn freedom or you lock yourself into limitations that haunt you for decades. And most men don't realize they're destroying their future until it's too late. Every choice you make in your 20s is an investment, and investments always compound. The problem is this: most men don't realize they're compounding the wrong things. They think today's choices disappear tomorrow. They think skipping discipline just means I'll try again later. They think a bad habit is harmless because they're still young. They think they have time. But your future doesn't care about how old you are. It only cares about what you're building. And the truth is this: the decisions you make in your 20s decide your freedom, your value, and the life you're going to be forced to live later. Let's break it down. 1. Money. You're either building leverage or building chains. Most men waste their 20s chasing short-term pleasure. Drinks, nights out, pointless subscriptions, impulse buys, designer clothes for validation. Meanwhile, the men who win are stacking skills, savings, investments, side income, discipline around spending, financial literacy. You know what that creates? Freedom, options, power. Because money doesn't buy happiness, it buys respect, leverage, time, and the ability to walk away from anything that drains you. Every stupid purchase in your 20s becomes regret in your 30s. Every smart decision becomes the reason you're not stressed later. 2. Discipline. The harder you are on yourself. Now, the easier life becomes later. Your 20s decide whether you become a man who follows through, stays consistent, handles pressure, and finishes what he starts, or a man who cracks under the slightest discomfort. Show me your habits now, and I can tell you your future. Because discipline compounds like interest. If you build it early, everything else becomes simple. If you avoid it, everything becomes a battle. Your 20s are where you choose comfort or growth, ease or excellence, instant gratification or long-term power. That choice builds your identity. 3. Relationships. You choose your patterns, not just your partners. Men underestimate the emotional habits they build in their 20s. Chasing the wrong women, ignoring red flags, tolerating disrespect, becoming addicted to validation, falling into trauma bonds, settling for situations that drain them. Every relationship you entertain shapes your self-worth and expectations. Your 20s decide whether you learn standards, boundaries, emotional control, avoidant, addictive cycles, your own patterns, your non-negotiables. If you choose chaos now, you won't magically choose stability later. Men don't attract better women in their 30s. They become better men, and better women follow. 4. Your body. The version you build now is the one you live in. Later train seriously in your 20s, and you'll have a body that protects you, respects you, and supports you for decades. Sloppiness compounds too. Fat turns into shame. Weak posture turns into insecurity. Bad eating habits turn into health problems. Low fitness turns into low confidence. A strong body creates a strong mind. And your 20s are when building strength is the easiest. Ignore it now, and you'll pay double later. 5. Emotional control. The difference between leadership and chaos. If you don't learn emotional control in your 20s, anger becomes your default, anxiety becomes your prison, insecurity becomes your personality, Impulsiveness becomes your downfall. Reactivity ruins your relationships. Your 20s decide whether you mature or whether you drag childish patterns into adulthood. A man who can control himself is respected everywhere. A man who can't is tolerated or avoided. 6. Identity. Who you become now is who you're stuck with. Later identity doesn't magically form at 30. It forms every day you wake up and make choices. Do you choose discipline or excuses? Do you choose purpose or distraction? Do you choose growth or comfort? Do you choose to build or to drift? Your 20s are where you decide whether you're a man who leads himself or a man who avoids himself. And avoiding yourself is the fastest way to destroy your future. The harsh truth? Your 20s aren't about perfection. They're about trajectory. Move in the right direction now, and your future opens up. Stay stuck in the wrong habits now, and your future collapses on you. Every decision matters. Every habit leaves a mark. Every sacrifice pays dividends. Every weakness you tolerate becomes a limitation your future self will suffer for. Your 20s decide your freedom, your value, your identity, your relationships, your money, your confidence, your options, your entire life. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. Your 20s aren't about having fun, finding yourself, or living your best life. They're about building the version of you that every future decade depends on. If you want a life that feels powerful, stable, respected, and free, then the man you build right now has to be forged with intention. Not emotion, not impulse, not comfort. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction. It's about becoming a man your future self is proud of. Here's how. 1. Build a ruthless identity. Because identity drives every action you need to decide who you are before the world does. Are you a disciplined man? Then act like one. Are you a man of standards? Then enforce them. Are you a man with purpose? Then live like it. Your identity isn't found, it's built. In the gym, in routines, in early mornings, in decisions you don't want to make. In staying consistent when no one is watching. In the habits that feel boring but shape your life. Strong identities create strong futures. Weak identities create weak lives. 2. Choose hard now, so life becomes easy later. If you avoid discomfort in your 20s, it will eventually swallow you whole. If you embrace discomfort in your 20s, your future becomes lighter, easier, and more rewarding. Choose the hard. Hard workouts, hard personal standards, hard discipline, hard conversations, hard sacrifices, hard self-awareness. Every difficult choice you make now becomes one less difficult situation later. Life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. 3. Build skills that make you valuable. Your 20s are your skills decade. This is where you build the abilities that pay you for the rest of your life. Communication, sales, marketing, discipline, leadership. Emotional control, financial intelligence, self-awareness, public speaking, content creation, fitness, and health discipline. You don't need to master everything, but you need to stack skills that make you rare. Skill stacking creates value. Value creates options. Options create freedom. 4. Stop living for approval. Build self-respect. Instead, most men lose their 20s because they live for validation, attention, fitting in, being liked, being chosen, impressing others. None of that builds a future. None of that compounds. None of that will matter in 5 years. Your self-respect comes from saying no, enforcing boundaries, walking away, choosing discipline, disappointing others when needed, making decisions based on values, not feelings. A man who respects himself becomes a man the world respects. 5. Build your financial future early. Money is freedom, not flex. Stop thinking money is material. Money is mobility. Money is options. Money is the power to walk away from anything. A toxic job, a bad relationship, a stressful environment, a life you hate. By the time your peers are panicking at 30, you can be stable, calm, and in control because you used your 20s to build discipline instead of debt. 6. Build your body. Because it defines your energy and identity. Your body is your foundation. A strong body gives you confidence, mental toughness, discipline, respect, attraction, longevity, higher standards. Your 20s are where you create the physique and habits that will define the next 40 years of your life. If you don't respect your body now, your future will pay the price. 7. Build your emotional strength. Because weak men crash later. You can't outrun your emotions. You can't outrun your trauma, and you can't outrun your lack of emotional control. Your 20s decide whether you become grounded or reactive, calm or chaotic, disciplined or impulsive, respected or walked over. Emotional maturity isn't age, it's self-control. Build it now before life forces you to. 8. Build a vision so you wake up with direction instead of confusion. Most men in their 20s drift because they have no idea what they want. Your vision can be simple. The body you want. The lifestyle you want. The income you want. The identity you want. The woman you want. The man you want to be. The point is direction. When you know where you're going, you move differently. With purpose, with confidence, with clarity. A man with a vision is dangerous. A man without one is lost. The truth. Your 20s aren't about achieving everything. They're about becoming the man capable of achieving anything. The next decade of your life will not be determined by wishes or dreams. It will be determined by identity, discipline, habits, purpose, and self-control. Build a powerful man now, and your 30s and 40s will be the best years of your life. Build a weak man now, and those same years will feel like a punishment. The choice is yours, every day, right now. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Your 20s are not a warm-up. They are not a rehearsal. They are not a decade to waste because you've got time. Your 20s build the man you're going to be for the rest of your life. Your strength, your income, your confidence, your relationships, your options, your freedom. And the brutal truth is this. The world doesn't reward the man who drifts. It rewards the man who builds. If you want your 30s and 40s to be powerful, stable, and full of choices, start acting like the man who deserves that future. Now, not tomorrow. Not when life calms down. Not when you feel motivated. Now. Because the version of you you're shaping today is the version you'll be stuck with tomorrow. If this video hit you, do something with it. Drop a comment telling me one change you're committing to this week. Hit the like button so more men wake up to the reality of their potential. And subscribe if you're ready to build a future you won't regret. Built by discipline, purpose, and a relentless standard for yourself. This is Relentless Man. Build the man, shape the future, and as always, rise above the excuses.